We've seen flash flooding and some severe thunderstorms in areas across eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England. But there is improvement on the way because we're headed into a nice weekend, which is going to be the payoff. As Joe Rayo has been putting it, probably the best weekend of the summer season so far. So let's get right to it tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. Support the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. If you shop on Amazon, use our referral link, which is on the description to this podcast on YouTube, right underneath the title. Just use the link and then shop and get whatever it is you're going to get. Amazon throws us back a little bit of coin for sending you there. It's an easy, cost-free way because it doesn't cost you a dime. It's Amazon's dime. So it's an easy way to support the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. So the live portion of it is commercial-free. And if you don't have a weather station, get one. Tempest by WeatherFlow. It's the revolutionary Tempest weather system, and if you get one, you join the fastest-growing observing weather network on the planet. The link for this is not only on the description to this podcast, but it's also pinned to the top of the chat board for easy access. And whatever you purchase there, be sure to use the coupon code SUMMER2025, because if you do, you will get
10% off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Yes.
So, looks like New York City got hit pretty hard with this, and a number of counties in New Jersey got hit pretty hard in southeastern Pennsylvania. But anytime you have a setup like this, there are going to you are going to have areas that don't get as much or get very little, and that played out this way. I was talking briefly with Bill Goodman about this morning. Nobody is that good forecast-wise that they're going to be able to tell you exactly where all the flooding is in these summertime situations. You can only identify the area. The best you can do is identify the area of risk and keep your fingers crossed that it doesn't happen where you are. So that's pretty much how it played out today. The one thing I did notice, though, Joe, was at about 1:30 this afternoon, SPC did extend the moderate risk eastward across New York City into western Long Island, and that was a wise decision on their part.
Well, would you like to guess how much rain I have had so far today?
I'm going to guess you probably have had very little.
I've had exactly, as in I checked the rain gauge just a few moments ago. I've had so far since midnight exactly 4/100ths of an inch.
Yeah.
0.04 inches. So there you
Well,
go.
you were outside. You were outside the main area. I mean, it formed the way it did, and it was solid across eastern and southeastern Pennsylvania. And much of New Jersey, not the northwestern counties, but everybody else pretty much got into it in one form or another. And then across New York City and into western parts of even parts of central Suffolk County, it was a little more localized there. I saw that Tom, I think Mr. Contino posted that Sayville got 5 inches of rain. I know around Center Reach there was every bit of 2 to 3 inches in some places. So I think it pretty well, in my view, it pretty well played out according to plan.
Well, yeah, you were absolutely right. We in this type of a situation, what you have to do is you have to put out a broad brush outlook and tell everybody that there's the potential for X number of inches of rain, and there are some isolated spots that are going to get much heavier amounts. I think I said last night that I thought for the lower Hudson Valley, 1.5 to 2 inches with isolated 4-inch amounts. We have not seen anywhere near that in any part of the Hudson Valley. But as Tom Contino points out, some sections got as much as 5 inches. So there you go. It's really guesswork. And last night, Joe, I mentioned also the GFS was highlighting areas to the south and southwest of New York. The European, as you were pointing out, highlighting areas to the north of New York, including my area, for the potential for getting hammered by heavy rain. But nobody's going to be able to say for sure until it's actually happening. And even as I speak to you now, I'm still in this large hole, although it looks like there's some precipitation moving in on me. We'll see that on the radar in just a very few moments.
All right, and Joe's going to take us. Let's do the local radars right off the bat, so you can go ahead and load it up. In the meantime, I'll just say hi to everybody on the chat board and welcome to those of you who are lurking in the background, as I like to say, on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. Sunday through Thursday at 7:35 p.m. is when we're here. We are off Fridays and Saturdays, unless there's a storm around, in which case we will let you know what's happening. So subscribe to my YouTube channel, turn your notifications on so you don't miss us. And of course, if you like the show, you should hit the like button. So Joe's got the first radar, and I'm seeing Upton, New York.
Absolutely. And you can see here on this view what I was just talking about, how here's Westchester County. For a short time this morning, the northern half of Orange County was under a flash flood warning. It was there that some very localized heavy downpours must have dropped something like 3, 4 inches of rain, or at least it was falling something at the rate of like 1 to 2 inches an hour over again the north half of Orange County. But as you can see, we're still looking at, for the most part in the Hudson Valley, not all that much. Yeah, there's some precipitation now working its way through, again, Orange County into my area. I just took the dog out a few minutes ago, and there was, I guess you could call it light rain, steady light rain, certainly nothing that would lead to any kind of flooding concerns. And this line that you see from northwest Jersey moving on up into Dutchess County does show some flashes of yellow. So maybe some light to moderate rainfall up here. But meanwhile, Westchester County pretty much out in the clear at the moment, as is New York. But New York got hammered earlier this afternoon. And right now, some very heavy-duty rains moving off the coast of Ocean County. In fact, if let me just shrink this for a moment here. We'll shrink that down, and we'll go to, let's see, we'll go to Philadelphia. Actually, this is Dover Air Force Base, Ellendale. You can see that the main region of heavy-duty rain is falling across parts of Maryland, Delaware, and southern and central New Jersey. In fact, here's this one line that's moving just past Dover on the last few frames of the loop, moving out into the ocean, and more of this activity out over Ocean County, moving out over the ocean as well. And this is where, by the way, down in this region, this is where the thunderstorms were. We often talk about convection and how when you put out a forecast, a quantitative forecast of precipitation, in the case of convection, that could cause the precip to double or even on rare occasions triple the projected amounts. So this is where all of the activity, all of the really heavy duty activity has been occurring and where the thunderstorms have been occurring down here in the Maryland, Delaware, South Jersey area. And here's even a stray cell down in eastern sections of Virginia. So this is where all the activity is now. And I suppose that we'll have to deal with this for a while longer, at least into the first part of tonight. If we go further to the north and east, let's go up to Boston. And Boston is showing areas of showers, and I don't think there are any thunderstorms here, but there are some moderately heavy showers across central sections of Massachusetts, heading for the Boston area, and light showers, light steady showers occurring over portions of Vermont and New Hampshire and into down east Maine. And here you see the activity that's still moderate to maybe even in some cases heavy over portions of central Long Island. All of that continuing on that east-northeasterly trek away to the north and east.
Any way you could make that image a little bigger?
The one I just showed here?
Yeah.
Let's see. Hang on. Come on, zoom. Okay, how's that?
Yeah, that's fine. The way Zoom with the screen, Yeah, that's good. That's better.
Well, you do
That
get an
is good.
idea. And here's that corridor of dry weather, which is across most of Rhode Island, Connecticut, and down into again parts of the Hudson Valley, where there's hardly any precipitation to speak of, or if there is precipitation, it's much lighter as compared to many other areas that have been battered with 2, 3, 4, and even, as Tom Contino pointed out, 5 inches of the wet stuff. And where else could we go, Joe?
Uh, try down. Well, you went down into Maryland. Let's see. Hold on a second. Um, well, you can go down into in northern Georgia, and because I'm raining here, thankfully.
Here's Atlanta, Peachtree City. Joe is what? You're up in this area here?
Yeah, close enough. To the
Yeah, it
yeah,
looks like yeah, it looks like most of the heavy duty activity though is to your south, in and around
yes.
the Atlanta area and points east of Atlanta, and also an adjacent part of Alabama. They have some localized heavy activity, but nothing really, you know, of exceptional occurrence. But and it looks like southern and central sections of Georgia and Alabama are pretty much out of it, or if they have any precipitation, it's relatively short-lived or relatively light.
All right. I think that pretty well covers it. I just want to come back to the wider view that I have of the radars. I just want to point out that at least as of 7:48 Eastern Time, we still have some flash flood warnings in some of the South Jersey counties, and there's some special marine warnings in Delaware Bay and off the south coast of Delaware. You can see that in the brownish boxes. And we still got a little bit more work to do during the overnight because there's probably going to be this one last band of rain that's going to swing southeastward as the upper trough goes by. But then uh, we should be mostly done, and weather conditions will probably improve during the day on Friday. Did you drop into the 60s?
Oh yes, oh
Yeah,
yes. In fact, right now I'm 63 degrees. Our high
nice.
today, our high today was 74 at about 10 o'clock in the morning, and then we've been going down ever since.
Yeah, it was middle to upper 80s in New York City and North Jersey, and even some upper 80s and low 90s when you go further south into New Jersey. So it really did set things up for what happened, what transpired here with respect to the rain. By the way, we do have almost in the chilly air, we have overrunning rain that's going on in upstate New York and in Vermont, New Hampshire, and into southern Maine. So you see that there. It's an odd system this time of year because you have this really cool air mass to the north and you have the very warm tropical air mass to the south. I mean, that's something, you see those contrasts as we get into the fall, and then of course during the winter season, the way weather systems tend to set up. So a little bit odd to see it in this time of year. We do have some showers and storms in central and eastern North Carolina, and also in eastern South Carolina, with a one lone flash flood warning that's up in eastern North Carolina in one of the counties. We also have some storms uh, across the deep south, and there's a bigger cluster of storms back in Arkansas, eastern Oklahoma, and down into northern and central Louisiana. Southern Louisiana is bone dry. Some storms along I-20 in Mississippi and back into Alabama. Out in the west, it's especially busy, which you don't often expect, but indeed in the southwest and up through in eastern Arizona through New Mexico, once again, we've got storms along and east of the I-25 corridor through Colorado and into southeast Wyoming. Also, some showers and storms in northwest Wyoming, and then patchy areas through Idaho, Oregon, and Washington State. And when we look at the satellite loop, the lightning strikes, which were very vivid on those first few frames a few hours ago, have diminished some as that main area begins to pivot more offshore. And you can see the lightning strikes still going on across the south and lightning strikes that are going on up the Rockies and into the Pacific Northwest. Storm Prediction Center has, we still have a working severe thunderstorm watch in, well, there's a weird flash here. Let me just see what's going on because this box kind of popped up here for a moment. Okay, so it's getting whittled away. There's only one small area left in a severe thunderstorm watch, and that's in the southern portion of the Delmarva Peninsula. Another watch box is up in north central Wyoming. I'm sorry, north central Colorado into southeast Wyoming, and that's inside an area of marginal to slight risk. Next couple of days, clearly with this cool, dry air mass, nothing around the Great Lakes, nothing in most of the Ohio Valley, the northern mid Atlantic, and up into New England. We have a marginal risk tomorrow across uh, Georgia, South Carolina, and into southern portions of North Carolina, and thus also once again on the east side of the Rockies from northeast New Mexico northward into western South Dakota and eastern Wyoming. And day three, again, nothing in the Northeast, the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, small marginal risk area in southern Georgia and southeast Alabama, and a smallish area in the western plains from northwest Texas up through eastern Colorado and into southern Arizona. Now, as far as any additional rainfall is concerned from WPC, another quarter to maybe as much as a half an inch possible in and around northern New Jersey and New York City. There's a band of a half to three quarters, and the radar kind of bears this out in interior southern and central New England, coming out near Massachusetts. And then you still have an inch plus possible in southern New Jersey down into Delaware and into the Delmarva Peninsula over the next. That what you see up there is front end loaded because there's really not going to be much, if anything, going on over the next 5 or 6 days in the Northeast and Northern Mid Atlantic states. In the Southeast, we have up to 3, 4 inches of being forecast across the coastal Carolinas to southern Georgia and the Florida Panhandle. Inch and a half plus amounts reaching up into Tennessee and western North Carolina. Also up the plains from south to north, half an inch to as much as an inch and a half plus in some places. Northern Montana into western Canada. A little bit of action going on in the northwest, but California, much of California, Nevada, Utah, and at least the western half of Arizona look to be on the quiet side. So our little wave is going out offshore. The weather front continues to ease to the east. You need a little bit more of a push to get it out, but I think tomorrow, Joe, should be a day of decreasing clouds, increasing sun, with a nice fresh northeast wind and temperatures in the low and mid 70s, maybe. And then a cool night. It's Friday night into Saturday. Saturday looks gorgeous. Sunday looks gorgeous. High pressure in control. Dry air through the weekend. Temperatures might inch up a little bit on Sunday, but they will still be below average. Meanwhile, in the south, because the frontal boundary actually pushes pretty far to the south, we are going to see some showers and thunderstorms across the deep south and southeast on Friday. And again on Saturday, because there's another little wave that forms in southern Georgia there on Saturday. And even on Sunday, chances for showers and storms. But the dry air is going to try to funnel down into the Appalachians. And going forward into next week, if you notice, there's this line of storms here on Sunday in southern Canada and moving into northern Maine. There's a weak front that's dropping southward. It's probably going to fall apart before it ever gets further south. But it does help to reinforce the dry air for at least the first few days of next week and keep temperatures relatively tame. So I don't see a return to heat and humidity at least, well, maybe all next week because the flow gets onshore-ish later in the week, later next week. That's when the model, the European at least, is trying to form some kind of little low offshore and bringing a wave of moisture up the coast late next week. But I think I certainly think that through at least next Wednesday, it's going to be rain free.
Well, let's hope so. I think, in fact, I did mention the possibility late Thursday of next week, that's a full week away, of seeing maybe a rain shower by then. But right now, it looks like you may very well be right that much of the next 7 days after we get past tonight and early tomorrow morning will be dry. Joe, I'm sharing right now. I'm not sure if you're seeing it on the screen.
Hold
Uh,
on. I got to
the
switch. I got to switch you.
Okay,
Just a second. Um, Now they can see.
all right. I What I have on the screen right now is the smoke forecast, and I don't know if you're seeing that.
Yeah, we are seeing it.
Why am I not seeing that on my screen?
I don't know, but it's here.
Wait a minute. Just let me. I hate these. I hate these commercials. I mean, I should not hate them because they actually help us out, don't they? But
Well, yes, it's nice to keep something in the tummy.
now, why am I not? This is not. Oh, crazy. Hang on. Ah, yes. Okay, there you go. I'm seeing that now. Very good. So, this is the smoke forecast. Now, this is as of 8 o'clock this evening. This is right now. The projection for smoke. As you can see, obviously, you're not going to see very much anyway because of the cloud cover and because of the precipitation. You really don't know what's going on in terms of smoke until we actually clear things out. So now let's move things along here. We'll gradually. I'm going to do this hour by hour myself manually. This is midnight, 2 a.m., 4 a.m. Now take note of the fact that we're going to go into a northwesterly flow aloft, and that's where all of the smoke or all of the activity from forest fires in Canada come from on that northwesterly flow. So here's 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. You could still see smoky conditions. I'm suspecting that by tomorrow afternoon, like let's say 3 or 4 o'clock, we'll be getting some good breaks of sunshine. But if we do, in the immediate tri state area, and maybe the exception will be eastern and central Long Island, according to this outlook, it'll appear kind of hazy because, again, we have this area of smoke still in our vicinity. But as you can see, with the passage of time, it's moving out of the area. And in fact, by the time we get to 10 o'clock tomorrow night, midnight tomorrow night, into the early hours of Saturday morning, no smoke to speak of, which means that when you get up on Saturday morning, many of you will be waking up to a beautiful deep blue sky and bright sunshine. Although here we have I spoke too soon, didn't I? There's a patch of smoke supposedly that will be over western and central Connecticut and adjacent sections of the Hudson Valley. And then as we continue here on into noontime, that little patch is over the immediate tri-state area, and that's where it all comes to a close. So we go as far as midday or noontime on Saturday. So there may be some areas that see a little smoke, but a lot of areas will be out in the clear. There's another area that looks like it's trying to edge on down from the north and west. But for the most part, once we get into a clearing trend tomorrow, we should be seeing improvement, skies clearing out, and again, a nice shade of blue to that sky. The For the most part, most of the smoke should not be in our vicinity. We should be enjoying what, as we've been promoting, or at least I've been promoting for the past few days, one of the nicest stretches of weather, and probably in all likelihood, the best weekend we have seen weather-wise so far here in the metropolitan New York City area, Joe.
In the tropics, in the Atlantic, it looks quiet, at least for the next week or so, maybe even a little bit longer than that. A couple of runs in the last couple of days of various models have been trying to, spin a few things. Spin something up here, another one there, but there doesn't seem to be anything consistent from what I'm seeing. In the Pacific, in the Eastern Pacific, we have tropical storm Gil or Gilles, depending on how you want to pronounce it. 13.5 north, 117.2 west, in the middle of the Pacific nowhere. Top winds are 50 miles an hour, forecast to become a hurricane on a west-northwest course, and then it goes into the Pacific Ocean graveyard. In the Central Pacific, we still have tropical storm Iona, which briefly was a major hurricane well east of the Hawaiian Islands. In fact, it's going to cross the international dateline
Well,
tomorrow.
west of well, west of the Hawaiian Islands.
What did I say?
Well, east.
I'm sorry, you're right. Well west. I'm thinking Atlantic. Well west of the well west of the Hawaiian Islands, and it's going to cross the international dateline Saturday night, and then go to the other side, and gradually weaken. It's very interesting. You would think that every once in a while you'd get something that holds its strength and moves all the way across the Pacific, but there's a sort of semi-permanent zone near the international dateline of like hostile upper winds and shear that seems to always be there. I don't think I can't remember any one of these storms that have done this, that have crossed the dateline, where they survive all the way across. Which is kind of odd because you'd think that at least once or twice it might have happened, and maybe it has. I just haven't
And do they
haven't.
get the term? And do they? Does the term change when they get all the way across? If they ever got all the way across from hurricane to typhoon?
I think so, and I think I think it also gets a name change when it gets to the other side.
Okay, yeah.
I'm pretty sure they do. I know in the Atlantic they changed it in the Atlantic now, where if it crosses from the Atlantic to the Pacific, and and it's identifiable, it keeps the Atlantic name, which I think kind of makes sense because it gets so much news coverage everywhere that it's just better to just keep the same name. And we've seen that happen a few times in the last 10 years or so.
It would make sense to me.
Yeah, but what makes sense to us doesn't often translate to others. So we got some Briller Jeopardy to do. Are you ready? Everybody ready? Because it's a
Now,
Thursday night and we want to
last
start the weekend.
last night we had the listing of places that went above 120 degrees.
Right. Now, tonight we're going to start with August. And we're talking New York City in August, Joe. The highest temperature ever recorded in the month of August was.
Oh, I'm sure they've gone to 100 degrees or higher at least once in August. I'll say 101.
Well, you were right to go over 100, but you didn't go over it enough. Steve Lapointe, right off the bat, first post with a number 104. So did
Wow.
Anthony, 104, and so did Howard A. and Chuck Cardillo, 104. I'm assuming, Chuck, that you mishit the zero. You meant to hit the zero and not 194. Kenny Salerno, thank you for hitting the tip jar. Joe Rayo, happy birthday. He shares your birthday, Joe, which is tomorrow or Saturday? Saturday.
Saturday. Saturday.
Very good. And you had a beautiful weather day coming up. So happy birthday to Kenny Salerno, and of course, happy birthday to you. What was the lowest temperature ever recorded in August in New York
I
City?
don't think it's ever dropped into the 40s at Central Park, but I think it has gotten down as low as like 52 degrees at the end, toward the end of the month.
So your guess is 52?
My guess is 52.
Okay, so your guess at 52 is just a little bit too high. A little bit too high. A bunch of you had dancing around it at 51, but Frank R at 50, and that was back. That was back in 1986,
And
which
what
wasn't, in my mind, it wasn't that long ago because we both lived that year. But now, when you realize how many years ago it actually was, well, you know what? It was pretty long ago. What was the lowest daytime high?
Oh dear me. I'll say 61.
Well, that's a good guess. It's a little too high, but it's a good guess. Um, let's see. Harold Olson at 59 and Chuck Cardillo at 59. 59, Joe, and that was back in 2007. 2007. And the last one for the day and for the week, what is the record for the most 90-degree days in the month of August? So The most it could have been was 31. So you work your way down from there. The most
I
90-degree days in August.
I'll say 10.
That's too low. And you can assume that from my tone of voice that it's way too low. Frank R., you're very close at 17. And Harold Olson, you're very close at 17. 20 is too high. And Mr. Bonsai at 17. Christinapedia at 19 is on the other side of very close, which means that Miss Fowlerite at 18. 18 gets it. 1 8, 18. And there
Well,
you
there you
have it.
go. There you go for that. 18.
If you
I'd
know,
like to, I'd just like to address something that has been on the chat board the last couple of nights, and that is that a few people, led by Harold Olson, have been asking for Bob Harris to appear either on this show or on the Weather Legend show. And then Tom Contino said, I'll take care of that. I will be the one who will be. Um, it sounded like he said, I'm going to be the one who's going to book Bob Harris or get Bob Harris on, which had me scratching my head because, to my knowledge, Joe, the only person who has Bob Harris's personal email and has been in touch or in contact with Bob Harris since he left the tri state area back in the 1990s, 1993 to be exact, is yours truly. Now, Bob is about 85 years old. I haven't had any contact with Bob in a few months, so I'm not really sure if he's still in good health or not. But what I will do is I will send Bob an email, just say hello, and then ask him if he would be interested in coming on and talking either on Weather Legend or right here on the Joe and Joe show. But again, I can't make any promises because again, I really don't know Bob, how he's feeling lately. But and there may be some, I don't know. I think Bob has taken the concept or idea that the doctor bit where he for many years he said he was had a doctorate and he really didn't, and he was outed and had a lot of embarrassment back in the late 70s and early 80s. But I think he's over that now, and I think he would be willing to talk about it, although it would be better, I think, if we didn't talk about it at all and
I,
just
I
give
I don't think it's irrelevant. I really don't think it's relevant to get
no.
into that now. It
No,
just
I would
isn't.
say that too, but again, you don't know what somebody on the chat board is
Yeah,
going to
and you
say.
know what? He's also, you get to a certain point in your life, uh, and I've I've known Alan forever, and it took a lot of prodding in order to get him to come on. You get to
Right.
a certain point in your life at a certain age, it's like, you know what, I'm retired, I'm done, I really don't want to do this. And I understand that. I totally understand that. There are days where I wake up and I'm like, I don't want to do this. But yeah, he could very well be at a point in his life. I know he's busy. He does, I believe he does some charity work or some sort.
Well, this was as of a few years ago. He was a docent or a volunteer at a local hospital. He's down
Hmm.
in Florida right now, Palm Beach to be exact. So that's where he's been since he retired and left New York in 1993. There was a time when nobody knew where he
Right.
was. Everybody said he just dropped out of sight. And then he suddenly, about 15 years ago, out of the blue, he contacted me. And the only way he was able to contact me was he got my email from space.com, articles I wrote for space.com. So
Oh, I see.
we'll see. I will put in the effort. I will try to see if
Well,
we can
Joe, sometimes those emails do come out of the blue. I mean, you're still waiting for that response from Joe Whitty.
go witty. Yeah. Thank
David,
you.
go
Thank you
ahead.
very much to. No, I was just going to say thank you very much to David Fuller for the happy birthday greetings and for hitting the tip jar tonight on, I guess, my behalf or whatever. But we'll and to Kenny Salerno as well. Um, and he shares the same birthday with me, August the 2nd. So
All
um,
right. Well, enjoy your birthday on Saturday.
It's my
Have,
final year coming up in the 60s. How do you
yeah.
feel? How do you think I feel about that? I don't know about you, Joe, but I think about my grandfather. And my mom and my sister and I, we lived with my grandparents after my parents divorced for many, many years. And I think of my grandfather and his where he was, where I am now. I never thought I would ever get there, but here I am, at the same age that my grandfather was back in 1977. And I don't know. It feels kind of weird to
No,
think
I
about.
understand. I understand. I think about that too. Being the age now when my grandparents were this age, sure. Thankfully, they lived well into their 80s, so you know, hopefully by genetics, I have a long way to go.
Yeah,
Um, because after all, we're here Sunday through Thursday at 7:35 p.m. and the occasional Friday and Saturday, and I'm booked. So I really don't have time to die. So I'm too busy. So there you
and
have.
Rich Rothmansky, the old proverb he posts on the chat board, those with many birthdays tend to live longest.
Yeah, that's kind of how that is kind of how it works. Well,
And Rich, I might point out, Rich, that you were saying that dew points over the weekend could drop into the 40s, and I didn't poo-poo it, but I just said it's going to be a long stretch for that. But now some of the numbers I'm looking at suggest that we may very well see dew points if at 50 or maybe briefly into the upper
this is
40s.
for this time of year. This is a big high, and yeah, the air. When you look at what's going on inside the high right now with the air that's coming down from Canada, I wouldn't shock me if you see four dew points in the 40s. It would not be a surprise. So I have the only plans I have for this weekend. I have to get through tonight, okay? Because up until now, I planted two peach trees in the front of my property along the road, and I have so far have not. The deer have left them alone, because deer apparently do like to eat peach trees. So the deer have left them alone, and I'm getting my uh, delivery from Amazon. I ordered these deer animal sensors, and they kind of look like the solar lights that you can get at Home Depot. Okay, and you just stick them in the ground, and they make some kind of sound. And from what I have read, they're supposed to be very good. So that is the focus of my attention tomorrow and Saturday are these uh, deer repellent devices, and they're solar, so I don't have to worry about batteries or anything. I just stick them out there, and that's a sunny area. And I got to put them in a few other various places in my yard to protect my rose bushes and a few other things. So that is my project
Let,
for the weekend, and
let me know.
I'll
Let me
report
know if
on
they
some.
work.
Yeah, I will report about this on Sunday, and then I also ordered two hydrangeas, two big leaf hydrangeas, two more big leaf hydrangeas on Amazon, which I'm coming. They're supposed to get here tomorrow, so I have to plant those. So those are the two things that I'm going to be focusing my attention on this weekend, and nothing else. And Frank Scalera was saying if his parents had two peach trees in the Bronx, they could only enjoy half of it because this damn squirrel eats. Yeah, well, that's the thing. They do. My father takes the shoe, my mom with the broom, etc. I get it. Yeah, it's trying to make sure that the varmints don't get to it. So I'm hoping that these work. I mean, I was reading up on the particular ones I got, and they got very good reviews on Amazon. So, but I'll let you know on Sunday. And
Just
everybody else, I'll let you know too. So everybody have a great Friday and a great weekend. And we're back Sunday night. Not taking a day off this week, so we're back Sunday night at 7:35 p.m. Night night.
Mrs. Rayo is trying to grow cucumbers, so she's concerned that the deer may go after the cucumber plant that she's got. So that's the prime. And of course, we also have our tomatoes too. But we'll look forward to hearing your report on this device.
Okay, will do.
Good night, folks.
Bye bye.